Welcome to the Intuitive Empire podcast, the place for coaches, healers, network marketers, and awakened souls who are all about creating success on their own terms. We are here to rise, and in doing so, we must honor our sensitive selves, activate our intuition, and lead with light. We are the ones we've been waiting for, the change makers, wayseers, and trailblazers. Join me, Jaya Rose, as we step fully into luminous leadership and create epic, intuitive empires that serve the highest good of all. Ready? Let's go. Hello, and welcome back to the Intuitive Empire. I'm fangirling a little bit today because we have what I just said on my story, which she probably hasn't seen, one of my favorite mentors I've ever had, Miss Libby Crow, on the podcast. And I just will tell you a quick little story about how I met Libby. I met her in a Facebook ad. Her Facebook ad, her video for her program that she was running at the time, the Business Accelerator, was rolling through my newsfeed. And it was at a very vulnerable time, like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, oh my God, I think she might be talking to me. Wait, this is really good. Oh, I think she's talking to me. And she just has this way of talking right from her heart to yours. So you're going to experience that. And needless to say, I enrolled in her program. It changed my life. It's amazing. She's amazing. So welcome, Libby.
Thank you so much. What a great acknowledgement and welcome. I'm really pumped to be here, Boo. You just are such a light. I'm excited to jam with you. And I'm so grateful that you decided to do the program for yourself and you're getting all the dazzling sparkles that comes from showing up for yourself. And yeah, I think when we speak to the person that we are in ourselves, we attract people like it. So we're a vibe trap for sure.
Oh, it's totally true. I think you are a representation of that because you have nailed the speaking directly to the person that you're calling in so well. I think that's just such one of your gifts. And it shows up. So maybe, we could just start right there. Like, where does that come from for you? Do you feel like that's skill, ability, just natural? What the ability to be able to really speak directly to who you're talking to?
Yeah, I think overthinking it can limit our ability to actually be clear and to magnetize who we really want. So for me, whenever I'm sharing, whether it's an Insta story or a live training or a post that I'm writing, an email that I'm writing, anything really that's from me that I'm delivering value to someone else, is I just don't really think about it. I just do it. And so I think when we were wondering, is this enough? Is this good enough? Does this make sense? Is this clear? We can kind of erase the magic of it all that was there because it just came out of you so fluidly and so easily to begin with. So for me, the reason why I tend to attract people like me is because I'm just expressing me and I'm just remembering where I was at in the journey and what I needed to hear and or what I need to hear now. And so for me, it's kind of like a river. It just flows through and I don't question it. Where I think sometimes if someone's messaging, maybe your positioning is off or maybe their content isn't magnetizing the right folks, they're trying to fit into a box that they're not. They're like a diamond trying to fit into a box.
I love that. So it's like the river. I love that analogy. It's like the river just flows. But I also love that you just said that the overthinking is like an eraser, right? It's like you see that all the time when people are like, I'm not sure. And it's like, well, you're just erasing all of your intuition and the natural charisma that would come out. But why do you think that I think that is an ability, a natural ability. Do you think?
Thanks. Yeah. I've always been a writer and I've always loved to kind of journal and contemplate and express. So I think that even if that's not natural for you, if you're listening, then the way that you can kind of come back into yourself and trust yourself is just spending time with yourself. So for me, anytime that I take time for myself and I have spaciousness, maybe it's a bath or I go read or I go sit by a lake or on the beach or wherever I go to come back into myself, I find that whatever I'm putting out after that, it just so easily just comes through because I'm not pushing and forcing myself, where sometimes when we get so in the doing, it feels prescribed and it's lacking deep soul and it's lacking a genuine essence. And so for me, maybe for you, if it doesn't work as well, but for me, what really works well is just taking time alone and by myself and recalibrating and integrating and then sharing from that place. I find honestly that works best versus if I'm like, all right, I'm going to write a post that it's like block, 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 block. Where if I'm like, all right, I'm going to go take care of myself, and I'll be thinking or feeling or just being, and then poof, I have an idea that I want to share, and then it just comes right out. So I think if there's some blocks that might not be, you're like, I have a lot to say, maybe there's some pressure that's happening around it, or maybe you just need to be by yourself and jot some things down, and then it will kind of open the gates.
Mm-hmm. So before a video like that, when you're going to put it out in a Facebook ad and it is representing a big part of you and your business, I mean, I think that's where people they put so much on the thing, and then it becomes this, right, in their mind. So do you have practices that you do around getting into flow and being in those maybe higher pressure situations?
Got it. Yeah. Well, so the video you're talking about was more, I did actually think about what I was going to say. It wasn't just like, poof, it wasn't scripted, but I wrote down like, these are the points that I'm going to make. Strategically, it was like, where are people at now? Where do they want to go? What's in the way? Who am I and how can I help? Are you ready to say yes to this invitation? So there was some strategy to it. Yeah. But I'm not the kind of person that reads from a script. I think that's robotic because it's not me. Yeah. And I don't know, I guess maybe I'm a one-hit wonder with that stuff, but I think it's only because I trust myself and I'm confident. So when I sat down to do that, meaning there was just kind of like that, maybe some people could feel pressure because there's a camera crew and we rented the space and all of that. Yeah. It's just reminding yourself, like, the person that I'm talking to is not this camera person, this dude, the thousands of people who are going to see it that don't get me. It's just one person.
It's Jaya on her couch.
Exactly. It's just Jaya. For the longest time, I had a client of mine called Shannon. I say with myself, I'm just talking to Shannon.
Yes.
And that's it. And so when I focus on talking to Shannon or Jaya, then it's like, oh, I can talk to you. One other thing I will say is, like, from a more somatic, like, body place, is I can hold tension and it sits in my heart, like in my chest area. I'll just like not breathe, and it just feels tough in there whenever there's a situation where I do need to show up, like no cutesy, show up, one hit wonder, let's go. I'll just shake, like, because shaking releases and finishes the cycle of stress, just like on an animal. So I'll shake around, or I'll dance, or I'll smile, and I'll just yell shit at myself, like, I am powerful, like, I am brilliant, like, I am funny, I am smart, like, and then I'm like, all right, let's do this. And so it's a little self-talk. It's a little just knowing in my mind I'm talking to one person, and if anyone else wants to judge me, namaste, I love you, thank you, I release you, whatever, but it's taken some practice. I will say that when I first shot my first YouTube video, which was 7 years ago, and I'm not a big YouTuber or anything like that, but it was just the first time I did like a live video type of a thing. It was awkward. It was so, I was like shaking. I couldn't re-listen to it if my life depended on it. I was like cringing, and then I just started doing it, and I was like, I'm committed to just feeling comfortable. And that's part of the game, is just committing to practice, just like you would a yoga or meditation. It's a practice, and there's no perfect, like I could do a video tomorrow and flub up, and I've been doing this so easy for years and years and years. So yeah, it's a mix of those things for sure, and not being hard on yourself along the way.
Yes. The perfect storm. Hey, babe, I hope you're enjoying the show, and I'll let you get right back to it. But remember your free gift, the 7 Steps to Magnetic Embodiment Guidebook. All you need to do is text the word embody to 444-999, or head on over to thejayarose.com and download it there. Either way, you're going to love it. It breaks down my 7-step system for embodying your highest self and magnetizing your dreams to you. So simply text the word embody to 444-999, or head over to thejayarose.com, and I cannot wait to hear what you think about it. All right, enjoy listening. So 7 years ago, you did a YouTube video, and I know is that like when your online journey started?
Yeah. So I was an elementary teacher. I taught first and second grade when I got introduced to the idea of entrepreneurship. I couldn't even say that word back then. I was like, entrepreneur,
Mm.
what is this?
Yeah.
I got exposed to this network marketing company and I was like, cool. I can sell some people stuff and coach people in these
Mm.
groups. Like I'm a leader already. Let's do this. And I went in and I just skyrocketed my success, and I was making in 6 months what I was making as a teacher in that company. And so I quit teaching because I was like, hey, this feels like more fun. There's more possibility.
Yeah.
I can make more money. I might not be as tired. That's funny. I didn't really know what the journey of entrepreneurship really looked like. I was still tired.
Yeah.
But it just is a different reason why, where I
Yeah.
love teaching, but it felt like a limit, or like I could only hit certain levels of success or my own development. And so entrepreneurship felt like this new journey. And so I was really successful in that. And then I started to learn more and get certified in things like life coaching and eating psychology. And then I stopped doing the network marketing thing and focused on my own brand, which ended up looking like courses, group programs, one-on-one consulting, workshops, and retreats. And then from there, I really developed a great personal development company where I was helping women all over the world with self-love, body positivity, and really under the umbrella of life coaching a lot. And then came the time where people kept knocking on my door asking me if I could help them with their business. And I'm like, I'm not a business coach. I mean, I'm really good at business and I love business, but I do personal development. And everyone just kept knocking. Can you please help me? I like the way you're doing business versus the way that business coach is trying to teach me. And I'm like, I give up. Okay. So I started helping people that were really adamant about me helping them. And what I found is people started seeing crazy success using my methods, using my processes, my strategies that I had refined, made my own. And then I was like, all right, this is fun. I love working with leaders. I love working with visionaries and creatives and people who are committed to their spiritual path and their evolution. And so that turned into a business mentorship company, which has been going on for years now. And then last year I scaled it to a 7-figure company. And that's when you came through and we met each other as well. And then I was in a position where my team ran the company and I just basically uh, got to hang out. And what that looked like for me was, geez, I kind of went a little bit crazy. I was used to being a doer and an achiever, and my face and my energy was really the part of the business, the pulse of the business too. I got to be on the sidelines and just spend time with myself and relax. And my body had been in fight or flight since like second grade. I mean, I've always been like, if looking back. And so my body kind of in a way collapsed, and, adrenal fatigue, and just, I was a hot mess because I kind of lost an identity, or I lost my attachment to an identity rather. And so that's been about 6 months now. And it's been a really interesting journey from like building like this exponentially growing business for so long to hitting almost like a top tier point and feeling like, not that there's a top, but like it felt like a top of my whole journey, to being like, I am tired, and what do I really want now that I have this abundance and I can decide? And so, I've been in an interesting place in the last 6 months, but up until then, wow, I've really shown up for the journey of entrepreneurship and helped a lot of people on the way.
Amazing. It's like, it feels like I always use the analogy of a train for some reason. I'm like, get on the train, or the train is stopped or whatever. But I feel like it's like it gets momentum, right? Because you can see the momentum with something like that. And it feels like you had so much momentum to this place where then you ask the question, but what do I really want to do? What, right? Or I did a similar thing and I asked the question, what do I want to be known for? It's like, oh, whoops, hold on. Enter dark night of the soul. Because I think that these are the questions that were really being prompted, and the questions that are available for us now. Where I don't think this is not what we were taught. This wasn't available. I call it the new paradigm of possibility. We didn't have this before. So I'm curious for you in this journey, and having been in the online space for so long, and now you've created so much success, and you're asking these bigger questions, like the real deep come home to yourself questions. What do you feel like has really shifted? Like, what are you seeing as as being the big difference in this new paradigm of possibility compared to when maybe you started or even just 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think I could ask myself the same question along the way and always get a different answer depending on the embodiment of the wisdom I had at that time. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like I feel right now I've gone full circle in a bigger way than I ever have. You know, when we ask
Mm,
ourselves these deeper questions, is what I'm doing aligned? Does it feel juicy? Is it energy
mm,
rich? Is it, it's always like yes or no, and then you decide. But I feel like this has been a bit different. And I think it's because I haven't had to make money because money's cool with me now. So now
mm.
I'm asking myself, like, now that money, I don't need to worry about monetizing my gifts or my
Yeah.
anything. Who am I really, really, and what do I really, really want to do if it's not about
Yeah.
that at all? Which is okay if it's
Right.
about that. That's not a bad thing. Making money is a good thing. So now that if there's nothing to do with that, I've been in an exploratory place, in a quiet place. So I kind of came back into myself and stopped hanging out with friends for a few months. Really, it was kind of gnarly. Not by choice. It just didn't feel like it. I just really
Mm,
wanted to come back to me and um, just contemplating and thinking therapy and just spending time with myself, which felt
mm,
really juicy and self-honoring. And through that, I discovered a lot more about my sensitivity. And I've always known that I was sensitive, and I've always known that I had a high processor, and I know these things, but it's like I didn't give myself permission to because I was in on the train, as your example. I kind of look at it as like a huge trek in the Himalayas,
yeah.
like up, down, hungry, dying, injury.
Yeah.
So like to me, it's like a trek, but yeah, train. It's like it's because it was going and I was going. I didn't honor the sensitivity and all
Yeah.
of that. So I'm coming back into my true nature and my true rhythm and my true pace. And
Yeah.
what I'm finding is it is a lot more, it's slower,
Yeah.
and there's a lot more quiet. And so the pendulum's swinging to the feminine again, and I'm so grateful because I feel more me than I ever have. And the way that that looks in terms of my creation and what I'm putting into the world doesn't mean that I'm just stopping.
Yeah.
I think if you're an entrepreneur, you can't stop. You have an artisan soul. You just always want to produce and help.
Mm,
So for me, it's creating my new podcast so that I can share more about my soulful side versus the business side, and
mhm,
the parts of me that maybe I haven't been showcasing as much because wasn't relevant to business. And then
mm,
also writing. I'm working on my first book and have a meeting with the publishing house that I'm working with next month to start. And I'm just really grateful and excited. And then putting on a retreat in Bali this year. I haven't put on a retreat for a while, and I used to do that every year in a beautiful place. And that feels like just something I really
mm,
cherish, is creating sacred space with badass women, and small groups of women so we
mm,
can really go deep. And so these expressions in 2019 feel like who I really, really am. And I
mm.
feel I'm grateful for the journey, though, of being on the train hardcore. And it doesn't say that I'm not going to go back and like slay it here and there, but it's more
Yeah.
so I have understanding of who I am in it and what I need in it to make it feel nourishing versus draining.
Mm-hmm. Speaking to my soul, sister. I mean, 100%. And I feel like this, like what you just said, is such a beautiful answer to the question, what is this new paradigm of possibility? And it's what's possible is that we can be successful and sensitive and take care of ourselves. And I love that you were just talking about really coming home to that, and that your new pace is slower and deeper, and that is possible even if you're still on the train.
Hmm.
I guess I just want to like throw that in there, that even though, I mean, that question you're saying is, okay, I have abundance. So now what? Like, who am I inside of having enough abundance that I don't need to hustle? And it's not about money. But what do you think about having that perspective, like even when you do still need to make money?
Yeah, I think it's such a great question. I was talking to my friend Lori Harder about this recently, and she was feeling the same way as me and coming into the more feminine essence lately as well from the doing. And Here's the thing. I think that everything's in seasons. So I think there's seasons where you slay, there's seasons where you play, there's seasons where you lay.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're in a season of building, you're going to
Yeah.
be more in slay. And that's okay. And I'm just rhyming now at this point.
Yeah.
But so I that's okay. And then, but I think what I've realized is that to take impeccable care of myself and to put myself first,
Yeah.
I would do that a lot more along the way. I might have grown slower, but I might not also had adrenal fatigue and lost myself along the way at times. Not so everything's perfect because everything you're supposed to teach others. And
Right.
I would say that I would add in more play and more lay to my slay
Yeah.
factory calculation. But I do think that you do need to show up and be on the train and do things and activate that doer inside of you. If you're a business owner, it's not just cute. You don't just meditate your way to success. And so I think there's a merriment. And I also think that sometimes the merriment isn't available depending on the season, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to look perfect. It doesn't always have to look balanced. It's just your awareness of what you need and kind of waking up and asking yourself, what do I really need today? And
Mm-hmm.
what do I really want to accomplish today to move the needle
Mm-hmm.
as well? And so there's a discernment and a wisdom and almost like a motherly knowledge that you need to start to embody for it to make sense to be going back and forth between these energies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That is the balance though, isn't it? I mean, the balance is having both sides, and also it's more like the sum of the whole.
Yeah, it's like
Don't
a
you think?
harmony, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm in that season. Well, I'm in the season of recognizing the seasons where it's like um this is and I'm also asking big questions of like, yeah, but I am really committed to doing it the way that feels good. Still doing
Mm,
my self-care, even though I may be slaying, and yeah, maybe it will go slower. I think that,
and that's okay.
and that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just so committed to showing that it can be done. And
Hmm.
that means like walking that walk and not behind the scenes being like stressed out and anxious, because that's what was happening before, more in the masculine. So I think that this is such a beautiful time for this type of leadership to emerge. Like, don't you feel like people are really hungry for these kind of conversations?
Absolutely. And I think too, I think people don't realize that entrepreneurship is just a giant mirror for us to look
Yeah.
at our own shit. So you're gonna be operating in the masculine in your corporate job anyway. You are gonna be doing these things anyway. Entrepreneurship is just a mirror for you to actually look at it in a deeper way. So it's not that even entrepreneurship is the thing that makes you stay and slay or makes you
Yeah.
like sacrifice and be anxious and stressed. It's just that that was already there and it's amplifying it. Same thing with money. Money just amplifies who you already are. So
Yeah.
in a way, we can't blame entrepreneurship. We get to put entrepreneurship in its place and say, thank you for being a teacher to my patterns that are toxic as fuck, right? Or thank you for being a teacher that I realize that I need more loving and more relaxing or more whatever. So I think
Mhm.
in a way, we can't blame entrepreneurship, but we can use it to notice things about our own selves that we've whipped up from our childhood and so on, or maybe that we've seen in friend circles. Oh, okay, if I want that, I should do that. And so it's just an opportunity to look in the mirror. I think relationship is like that. I think entrepreneurship is like that. I think anything really can be a mirror for you if you're paying attention.
Mhm. Yeah, well, and if you're not paying attention, I don't know what happens.
Then it's just a hot mess. Then you're at the bottom of that pit in the Himalayas trying to
Yeah.
trek up without shoes on, and it's messy.
It becomes like a boulder smacking you or something.
It's not
Oh
some
my
fun.
gosh. So in this deepening that you've been in and this allowance of really coming into the truth of who you are, I think is sort of how I hear you saying it. How has that been? So I know that you got married. Is it a year ago? A little more?
Yeah, June, so it'll be a year and a
Oh,
little bit.
it'll be a year and a little. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, So, and I also know just a little bit about him that he slays. He has a really big business also online. And so for you easing back, how is that managing? Like, how do you not take on the energy of where he's at and if he's being more masculine? And I don't know that he is, but yeah.
Clever question. So I love this question. The only person that's ever asked me this besides you is Angela on my team. And because we just did an interview together where she interviewed me for the podcast. So So Scott is my husband, Scott Oldford, and he's been an entrepreneur since he was 7 years old. He's brilliant. He's a prodigy. He's successful. He's incredible. I admire him. I respect him. I think he's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's always just slaying. And here's the difference between us. When he's working, it feels as good to him to work as it does for me to go to the spa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a calibration. And I will tell you that I think part of my burnout was trying to keep up with him because I think he's the coolest, Jaya. I literally think he's the coolest human. I love him so much. I've never felt like this about any human. I've never been like, I look up to this person. No, just Scott. I think he's incredible. And because of that, I've had my own comparison stuff with him. And because we've lived together and hardly been away from each other since the moment we've met, my energy for sure, my metronome just started to be his metronome. And I started to cycle with him. And that felt exhausting to me because I'm not him. My body's not the same as him. My desires we're not the same. So physiologically either. And like, I'm so sensitive and he's not. So we just have a lot of different.
Is he not highly sensitive?
He is to people's energy, but not to like sounds and noises and smells. Like, I'm sensitive to all the things, and he's just more like discerning. I wouldn't say sensitive, but discerning with energy. Tune. Yeah, he's just in tune. He's in flow, but he's like, can be loud, and I'll be like, oh my God, it's hurting my face. So, he actually got an office somewhere recently because him being on the phone was making me feel so like tense in the house. So yeah, we're different in that for sure. So for me, it's been a lot of communication with him around like, I'm comparing myself to you. Like, I don't compare myself to these chicks. Like, I compare myself to him, which is so funny, right?
Interesting.
And I'll just be like, you're just so amazing and you just work and it's so easy and you don't react and you're just like, ah! And he's just, always so loving to me and just provides the most great feedback. But I've had to do my own work with that and learn to just stay in my lane. And for me too, and for us in relationship, I've had to learn to just ask for my own time and space to come back into some what I consider peace and quiet and kind of more chill Libby vibes. So yeah, it's been a journey for me. I think part of the burnout I had was meeting up to what I thought I could be because he was doing it too. And I don't really share that, I guess, just now. And when Angela talked to me about it, because it doesn't come up to talk about, but I think that is an important thing. And I'm really grateful that you asked me because he has his own rhythm. And I kind of equate it, Jaya, to say that you're walking around a room, like you're just walking, or maybe you're just walking down a path. Everyone has their own pace, right? And I was kind of going at like Olympic speed walker pace. And actually my pace is like chill, Venice Beach stroll. Yeah. And so I was kind of speed walking to keep up with his pace and that my pace is not like that. So I've learned to come into my own walking pattern recently for sure. Yeah, that's amazing. And you end up tired as fuck is what happens. I'm like, whoa, this is not how I roll, but I could, but wow, the sacrifice of all these things, it just doesn't feel worth it to me in the long run. I got to take care of my body. Yeah. Yeah. I think that it's a big thing being highly sensitive in relationships. I know before I really claimed it as part of who I was, it was like a point of contention. And because it was all around asking for your needs and then is that okay? And all this, kind of deliberation around like what's okay and not okay to need in a way. And in that, in owning that it's actually, no, I'm just highly sensitive and it makes me fucking amazing. So you're welcome, Scott's almost been my voice sometimes with it when I can't express what I need. He'll be like, hey, so you have 3 calls. That's a lot for you. Why don't you just cancel one of the calls so that you can have that 2 hours to just rest? Yeah. And I'm like, well, look at you just being amazing over there. Like, so he sometimes will just pop in. Good. And by sometimes like every day, he'll like look at my schedule and he'll be like, are you sure? Maybe you should just cancel that or I'll take over that for you so you can rest. And so he's been almost more of an advocate than I am for myself with this. And wow. Yeah. So almost through him, I'm able to own and really respect and honor my sensitivity more so because he just goes full in on the support mode with it. It's pretty... Yeah, I tell you. Remarkable, especially because that's not his flow, right? So to be able to tap in and see what you need without you even maybe knowing it yet. He loves me.
I
Yeah,
love him.
I'm grateful for it too, because, that pusher, that achiever in me will just come right through right when you least expect it, even when we're tired. And all of a sudden, before you know it, I have a packed schedule and this
Yeah.
project. And so for me, it's like by telling him what I need and who I am in these conversations, and him remembering and
Yeah.
being my advocate has been a way for me to just acknowledge it even more.
Oh, it's so good. I feel it because that's what I
Yeah.
do too, right? I'm like, I feel just the depth of that, of nourishment. Doesn't that just feel nourishing?
Yeah.
And
He's
I
a king.
wonder if there's some value for the people listening, because, a lot of women, and the women who work with me are highly sensitive. So I know a lot of people listening probably are. I feel like there could be a really beautiful lesson around maybe not having to know what you're going to need. Because sometimes how are you supposed to have the foresight before the hindsight? And
Hmm.
in that, just being willing to express who you truly are, because that's what I hear you saying, that you're having these real truthful conversations with him, saying this is who I am, and then he's surmising what you need from it. And what a gift to give each other in a relationship, so that maybe it's not as much about, okay, you have to know every need and you have to say it boldly, but it's like, just be real with who you are and then ask them to hold that space for you.
Yeah. And I think too, to your question, like, how do we say that? How do we be proactive? I
Yeah.
think we don't know until we're in it sometimes, especially, you
Yeah.
know, we don't know how something might feel or be, or what experience we're going to have. And I think for me, one thing that I've actually learned from Scott too, is it's okay to just like leave a situation if it doesn't feel right or feel good, or cancel something. You can still stay in integrity if you're in integrity with yourself and you're honest with people. So say that I'm at an event or at a dinner, and it's loud and I'm tired. Maybe I was planning on staying until 9, but maybe it's the most integrity laced thing I could do for myself to say, I'm so grateful. This is so fun. I got to go take care of myself. Not meaning that I need to live my life in a hermit shell, which I could very much do, but because I'm like that. People think I'm like always extroverted because I love people and I love making people laugh, but
Yeah.
I love being alone. So for me, it's, yeah, just being able to in the moment be honest, and actually be honest with saying how I feel, not just honest with myself, has been a lesson for me, because I can be more of a go with the flow, where I just won't say anything. I don't want to upset anyone. That can be a tendency. And he's really teaching me to just, it's okay. Like if someone's upset because you leave, that's okay. You honored you. So I
Yeah.
think the lesson is being able to speak up for your needs in the moment. One thing I will say too about this is just a small example. So if you're riding in someone's Uber or Lyft, there are smells, there's temperatures, and there's sounds, and there's energy that most likely aren't really your vibe because it's a
Yeah.
stranger, etc. And so I've been practicing honoring my sensitivity and voicing what I need in Ubers or Lyfts, because for me, I can lock up, and it's almost like, no, I'll just behave, whatever that means. I'll be
Yeah.
the good girl, not say anything. So I've been practicing. So I'll say, can you please turn the music off? Can you please roll up the windows? Can you please
Yeah.
turn the heat up? And I will just start expressing what I need from me. And it might seem small to some people. They might just do that naturally. They might be like, why would
Yeah.
you not ask for what you need in an Uber or Lyft? But for me, starting to just honor it and be okay with expressing it through small things has really helped me with more big things too.
Oh my God, I love that. And I don't think that's small for a lot of people. I think specifically women, that we would think that was rude or in some way taking something from someone. No, that is so kick-ass. I love that.
Yeah, I've
Um,
been practicing small but steady, I tell you.
well, and those are muscles, right? Like, how do we build a
Mhm.
muscle? Start with
Yeah.
3 pounds.
My voice bicep is getting stronger every day.
Yes, exactly. That's a thing. Wait, did you hear about the new chakra? No.
We were talking about it before we went live, about this new chakra that spiritual folks are like, we all aren't spiritual, but spiritual humans leading workshops are saying that there's a new chakra between the throat and the heart, and it's like teal. I'm into it. That's what I'm saying. I don't
I'm
know.
into it too. I think you
Yeah.
need to strengthen that. So good. So, okay, here's the big question.
Yeah.
I know you're
Hit
in
me.
all, as if they haven't all been big. But I know you're exploring. Would you say that's true? Like where you are is an exploratory.
It's definitely less full on train trekking and more slowing down and neutralizing on things before I keep creating.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so talk to me about passion and what you're passionate about right now.
Yeah. In this journey of coming back into, I guess, what I'm calling now my true nature, I've been doing a lot of studying with the gene keys. And I work with the gene keys guy, and I've worked with him for about 8 months now. And I've got to explore myself, my shadows, my essences, my highest potentials.
Mm,
And what I've really come down to is my deep love of writing. I love writing so much. When I was a kiddo, I'd win writing awards, and I like the expression of writing, particularly because I can do it when I want to, and
mm,
no one's waiting on it. And so it comes from a place of pure giving and pure energy, rich energy. It's like a
mm.
portal of just like, it feels good to me, and it feels like I can give value and share wisdom and inspire people through a portal that isn't what I feel diminishing my energy.
Mm.
And so I'm really into writing. I'm going to start writing my first book next month, and that feels just, I feel more excited about that and more passionate about that than anything I've ever done.
Oh, hey.
And I really feel like I'm the next Paulo Coelho, but like personal development edition. And I just feel like writing is the way that my art can be transmuted really beautifully to people. And it feels like under all the things that I've done, I'm really a poet and a writer. So I feel so amped about that.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I wake up and I just smile about that. And yeah, that's what I'm feeling the passion around lately.
Heck yes, that's amazing. And what a beautiful, I feel like with writing, if I were to think about writing a book, what I want is spaciousness.
Hmm.
Like I want that's,
Kind of necessary for it.
leave me alone. all,
Yeah.
all of yous, just do it.
Yeah, I envision a lot of weeks up in the redwoods, up in Big Sur. I love to go there. And I think a lot of my journey has been not as integrated as it could have been
Mm.
because I was on the train going pretty fast. It was like a Elon Musk train, not just like a cute Italian train or something. And I think because of that, writing will help me kind of come full circle and come into the things that I've done and learned too.
Hmm. So what clarity do you have around what you're going to write or anything, names, anything you could share?
Yeah, I feel really clear lately. I think a lot of my path, I haven't felt that clear, but I've just been kicking ass and doing things, but I feel really clear. So I love that word right now. Uh, yes. So the first book will be about the classroom and how the classroom really is outside of the four walls that you've been taught, where you're supposed to learn about life and how it really happens outside of the comfort zone and in life. So it'll be a journey of the teacher who builds the business and who takes the
Mm.
leap outside of those four walls.
So good. I feel like that's a really big conversation.
Yeah, I think it's scary for a lot of people because we've been fed a truth about career and college and everything in the US anyway. And I've found that I
Mm.
didn't come alive until after I left that matrix.
And you know it really well as well. Like I feel like you have the voice to actually talk about it since you were in it, where I don't. Like I basically dropped out of high school and my older daughter dropped out of high school but has now built her own six-figure business by the age of 22, which is my 5-year-old is highly sensitive and I'm questioning, is regular school even good for her because she comes back exhausted just energetically, these things that are not paid attention to. I mean, the brilliance that both my highly sensitive daughters have will in no way be recognized in the traditional four walls like you're talking about.
Yeah, I have chills when you say that because I feel the same way. Whenever I have a kid, I'm not going to put them in the public school system. Nothing's wrong with it per se, if that's what you're going to do. But I also think that parents sometimes imagine that their child's going to get some kind of holistic education in the public school system. It's just
Yeah.
kind of hilarious. Even if it's a private school, a charter school, whatever. I taught at a charter school. Like, no, they're going to get one small sliver of the pie,
Yeah.
and to honor someone's full potential. And especially now with the internet, anything's possible. So the old paradigm of go to school, be in debt, try to have a life and live finally when you're 80 and you actually are dying off because someone prescribed you meds your whole life too, because you were anxious because you were doing a job that you didn't want to do to pay off your debt from college that you've been fed to. Like, do you see it's a cycle? So it's kind of like, I think that conscious parenting, the rise of that will be really beautiful to see how the future and kids take ownership of their lives and tap into their creativity and doing good for the planet and their entrepreneurial I would say DNA, which is in all of us. It just sometimes got shut down along the way. So I agree with you. I think that when we put the fate of our kids in other people's hands who aren't possibility centric, we are doing a disservice to our little ones and our future of our freaking world too.
Oh, it's so true. I mean, I grew up thinking that I wasn't smart, which is insane to me. I knew I was wise, once I became an adult, but I didn't really realize how smart I was till I was in my 30s. Which is such a travesty. And it's really just because of the way it's set up.
Yeah, I always felt kind of awkward. Like I was the kid that at a young age, I'm like, what is happening? Why are these teachers that don't even like kids teaching us? Why are they pretending to be all mean and strict? Why are we learning things and then regurgitating them on worksheets? Like, why are my parents unhappy in their jobs and they're fighting and they're not getting divorced? Like, I've always been wondering, like, what's happening here? Why is no one talking about what's happening? No one's talking about why we're here on the planet. People are just trying to feed themselves with codependent religion. And so I was just always like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And so as I got older, I'm like, oh, I'm in a weird matrix. That's what's happening. And so I was able to get out of it, but by just choosing to trust myself and to go in the direction of my inner compass. But wow, it's a mess. And I think more and more we're going to tune into people going after their dreams and trusting themselves. And there's such a catalyzing fire that's spreading amongst humanity that like entrepreneurs are going to solve the world's problems. It's not politicians. And because of that, we now have a responsibility to step up and into our leadership. And it's an exciting time to be alive. I'll tell you that much.
So good. All the chills. Just yes. I don't think that it could be said any better. And I love your voice in this. And I know that you value your own voice, but I just want to give you the gift of valuing it with you and in sharing that with everyone else, because your viewpoint, your experiences, your story, and how you filter and then show up is like, it's so needed. And it's just amazing. And I can't wait for it to be expressed how you see it most potent in writing.
Thank you. I received that. It feels really good to share with you about that and that's something that I want to do. And yeah, I just want to also acknowledge the person that you are to create a human who's already on her own path like that through modeling it yourself. I think that's actually that's just incredible in itself. Like, we could just make a podcast and say Jaya raised a human being who has a 6-figure company because she modeled it through her own conscious leadership. End of the podcast.
I have a podcast where I interviewed her, and it was like a couple ago. So
yeah, I just think that's incredible. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is we have to be the leaders for the younger generation about them standing into something that they love doing, because people just get sick because they're not happy, and people feel happy because they feel like what they're doing is meaningful. So when everyone can get aligned, it doesn't have to mean you're an entrepreneur, but if you're aligned in what you're doing, then everyone wins.
Oh, it's so true. Raise the vibration. That's the whole deal, right? So good. So I know that you are, you have some different things going on, but where would you like people to connect with you?
Absolutely. At Libby Crow on Instagram is great. Tag me, tag Jai, let us know that you love this. And also my website, libbycrow.com. And then I have a new podcast called Behind the Dream. It's really dope. It's deep and dope. It's great. It's about what it takes to win at this entrepreneur thing, soulful, great chats with epic humans and myself. And then also there's a Facebook community called Behind the Dream that people can add themselves to. It's free, just to support each other on the journey of the slay, play, and lay, like we talked about. But yeah, everything's super easy to find me, Libby Crow. Not many people have my name.
Yes, so perfect. And I'll put all the links in the show notes so they can,
Thank you.
all they have to do is click.
Oh,
So,
on the Libby
so
Land
good.
train.
Yes, on the train, exactly. I'm so grateful. Thank you for taking the time to be here and sharing your wisdom with everyone. And I'm excited for them to connect with you and watch the unfoldings.
Thank you. It's my deep pleasure. You're such a rock star. I love you and I appreciate you.
Yay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And we'll see you next time on the Intuitive Empire podcast. Yay. Thanks so much for listening and being here. And if you loved this episode, please take a moment to rate it on iTunes. I feel so honored when I read your reviews, and I would love to feature you on the podcast as a spotlight review. Also, find me on Instagram at Jaya Rose, and I would be so excited to share your story into my story. I just love seeing the feedback and that you're listening. So share it out on social media, share it with somebody who you think it could benefit, because us showing up for other people is what this is all about. It's a ripple effect of change, and we do that by sharing. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time on Bliss Boss Talks.